Yo, welcome to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach, along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. We got a big show for y'all today. We talking about the Bears pre-draft review. They got a big time draft. We got a new general manager to help us out with that. We got my man Marcus Coach Floyd in the building to help us dissect this. Make sure you go on YouTube, subscribe to that page, Spectator Sporting, hit that bell, leave a comment. Also listen on Spotify. The Chicago Bears fired Ryan Pace, got a new GM by the name of Ryan Poles, and so far there's not been a lot of commotion. Nothing's really been done. A lot of Bears fans are like, "What is he doing? What is he doing?" Some Bears fans is like, "Oh, we'll see what happens when the draft." Trying to be patient with him because we just came off of a GM that traded a lot, and now this guy, we don't know what he's gonna do, but he got rid of a lot of contracts. That's one thing he did do. So, Adi. Let's talk about the Bears off-season moves first. What do you think about the off-season move? Anything to get you excited about?
No, nothing to get me excited about. All right, so Ryan Poles, he led Pro Football Focus's 20th best offensive guard and the Bears' best interior offensive lineman, James Daniels, walk to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a $9 million a year, 3-year deal with the Steelers, and he's only 24 years old, okay? And so, Poles signed the Buffalo Bills, the offensive guard, Ryan Bates, to an offer sheet, but the Buffalo Bills matched it, and he's back in Buffalo, so we didn't get him. Now, we did get Lucas Patrick. He was an interior offensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers. He played under Luke Gessy's zone run blocking scheme over there. In his first 3 years in the NFL, he didn't play much, but in the last 2 years, he started 28 games, bouncing around from both guard positions in the center position. Now, the old man, 40-year-old guy, Jason Peters, he's gone. He was the left tackle last year. He's gone. So it's looking like maybe Tevin Jenkins. They was trying to force him in his rookie year to go from right tackle to left tackle, but he only started 2 games last year, so he didn't get a lot of experience there. So that's a big question mark. You got the three-time Pro Bowler, the guy from the New Orleans Saints, Terron Armstead. He was a free agent from the New Orleans Saints. The Bears didn't even bring him in to visit to Hallis Hall and try to negotiate anything with him. He signed with the Miami Dolphins, $17 million a year, 5-year deal, okay? And this offseason to me was all about Justin Fields, okay? The Bears led the league in sacks allowed. All right, no team allowed more sacks than the Chicago Bears. I was looking at the offensive line to see what they can do. So now he didn't do much, and the offensive line got worse. And so I'm trying to see what they're going to do in this draft.
Very quiet on the free agent market. Anything stuck out to you, Coach, about like what happened in his free agency, his first go around?
Well, in his first go around, he kind of showed you what he was about. Listening to his defensive-minded head coach, the first thing they did jump out wasn't a splash, but it was the biggest free agent signing they had was Larry Ogunjobi.
Yeah.
As we know, that contract was rescinded. He ended up falling because he did not pass the physical. So by them changing this new defensive scheme, he tried to go with a 3-technique guy, whereas King Hicks and some other guys was more 5-technique guys. So then he was able to get Justin Jones. So this told me that they were trying to get their defense younger, and they were trying to get their defense more versatile. Yeah. So kind of if you look at those where Eberflus come from, Matt Eberflus comes from the Indianapolis Colts, playing that cover 2. So I expect, and I know we haven't got to that yet, I expect them to draft a DT pretty early. Just trying to get that defense set, get that anchor set, because everything, if we know under the Lovey days, we know under the Bears days where they played this 4-3 defense. When we had, if you look at Brian Urlacher's career, I say he had 2 defensive player of the years. Both years was when his D tackles was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're trying to get back to that old 4-3 style, and they showed what they were trying to do. Now I do agree with Adi on letting James Daniels go. I know they want to change the offensive line a little bit. I didn't think it would be James Daniels.
Yeah, that caught me up.
Probably had the most upside, I think. They brought in Lucas Patrick. They've already saying that he's already going to be locked in or penciled in as our starting center. So even though he's played guard, so I guess you're gonna make Mustafa try to fight for the position. But I wouldn't be shocked because the moves they have made, and it's not going to be very flashy. The moves they're going to make is going to be with the offensive and defensive lines, and he's definitely tried to show that he's going to build this team inside out.
Yeah, I definitely do see that. He also picked up defensive lineman Al-Qaeda Muhammad and receivers. You saw this coming, getting a receiver from the Chiefs, Byron Pringle. So that was a couple other free agent moves. Nothing. Nothing.
Very important pickup. I'm sorry. Probably one of the most important pickups. And it's not because he's the type of player that you're going to see scoring touchdowns or anything, but the Bears now have a fullback. They have a fullback. Haven't had a fullback.
Yeah.
So that lets you know what direction that this team is going in. They picked up Blasingame, so that lets you know what their style is going to be. Not saying I like it, not saying I'm with it, not saying I'm against it, but they definitely told you what direction they're going into. They're going to try to be a physical team.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at that. I mean, if they can make it work, make it work. So with the second round pick, Coach, you just talk about they might take a DT. They need an offensive lineman. They got rid of James Daniel. But they also have a big void at wide receiver. And we talk about this is the time where we got to do everything to make Justin Fields a successful quarterback. So the Bears going to have a pick to number 39 in the second round. Who do you think they go with?
And I do agree. I think we probably got the second. Green Bay might got the weakest wide receiver core. We close to one of the weakest wide receiver core. I think we got a real big hole, as we said, at right guard. We got a huge hole at left tackle. This team definitely has some holes, but I think this team is going to go and draft, be what good are they at, and wait on players. So I'm looking at them to go DT, as I just said. It's not a huge need right now because they did sign a guy in free agency, but I think they're trying to get that. I think they're going to go with that 3 technique. I'm looking at Perion Winfrey out of Oklahoma. I think if he's there, I think that's the guy, and that could be your DT for the next 8 to 10 years, and then that'll be that anchor defense and making things happen for Roquan to run the field like crazy. So that's what I'm looking at them to go DT, 6'3", 290 out of Oklahoma.
Nice. So you agree with Coach over here that they're going to go DT, or what do you think they're going to do with their first pick, number 39 in the second round, Adi?
Well, no, I don't agree. I can't get it out of my head that the Bears led the league in sacks allowed last year. I'm just looking at left tackle options for the Bears here with the number 39 pick. All right, you got a guy, Bernhard Raymond. Okay, he's 6'6", 305 pounds, went to Central Michigan. He started off as a wide receiver. He was originally a wide receiver there, converted to tight end, finally settled down as an offensive tackle, left tackle in 2020, okay? He uses his height and strength to give edge rushers a very horrible angle to the quarterback, okay? Now you also get Tulsa's Tyler Smith. He's very athletic for a big guy, okay? He has very good power and very mobile and athletic, and so, but he is 6'4". He's kind of short for an offensive tackle. He's 325 pounds. He could move to guard. Now, the Bears could draft a guard with the number 39 pick. You get Kenyon Green from Texas A&M. He's the consensus number 1 guard in the draft. So if the Bears do get a guard with the number 39 pick, I'm looking at Tevin Jenkins going to left tackle. He's probably going to have to learn to play left tackle, or Larry Borum play left tackle, and then figure out who's better at left tackle there and put Borum or Tevin Jenkins at right tackle.
So both of y'all go in line, defense, offense. I agree with both of y'all. Both of y'all make fair points because you did bring up some that we are going to like the more 4-3, and that's the most important position. I mean, to go back to the Bears 2006 Super Bowl team, Tommy Harris. So let's just go there.
Tank was there too.
Yeah, Tank was there. So you got to go look at that. But I hope I hope they go with a wide receiver. I hope they go with a wide receiver. If they get an old offensive lineman, I'm not mad at that either. If they get somebody they feel like that's an upgrade. But listen, we cannot have Justin Fields out here playing with the cheap toys. He need the top of the line toys, okay? He need the real thing. So I was looking at maybe from Georgia, George Pickens. He might be available. What's the guy, David Bell from Purdue? Yeah, those are two guys that might be available at that position that they can go after. So I feel like in the division right now, and the way football's going, we gotta get more explosive on offense. I know I said this on the last show, but we cannot be averaging 16 points a game going into next year. That stuff got to be over with.
Yeah.
We got to be 25 and up, just like with the rest of the NFL. We got to catch up with the time. So I'm looking at wide receiver, but like y'all say, the Bears have a lot of holes, so it might just be the best player available. Yes, y'all know, and make sure y'all can always listen to this on Spotify as well. So they got 2 second-round picks in the second round, Adi.
Yeah.
So if, from your standards, if they go with offensive linemen on the first one, what are they going to do with the number 48 pick in the second round?
All right, well, you know what? I'm all offense, man. To me, when they traded Khalil Mack, I said, you know what? Forget about the defense. Just go ahead and allow 50 points a game, whatever. I don't even care about the defense no more. So I'm all offense, and you mentioned wide receiver. You mentioned George Pickens from Georgia, 6'3", 200 pounds. He's a big guy, has a lot of potential, big and strong. He didn't put up a lot of big numbers at Georgia. He came to the season late. He came late in the season because he tore his ACL. Yeah. But he was very effective for the Georgia Bulldogs, and I think he would be a big target for Justin Fields. You also got Sky Moore from Western Michigan. He's 5'10", 195 pounds. He was constantly burning DBs out there, and the guy has very good hands. He ran a 4.41 40 at the NFL Combine. That was number 10 amongst wide receivers at NFL Combine. He has very good hands, great hands, okay? Now, you got Roll Tides, John Minchie, okay? This guy's 5'11", 195 pounds. He's very deceptive with his route running. He has very soft, reliable hands. Now, he tore his ACL in December, but before that, he was killing. He was averaging 87 yards, receiving yards per game, 96 receptions, 8 touchdowns. Wow. This guy would be a nice wide receiver if he falls to the Bears in the second round. And last but not least, you got Cincinnati's Alec Pierce, okay? This guy, he's 6'3", 210 pounds. He ran a 4.33 40, number 5 amongst wide receivers in the NFL Combine, all right? Now, even when DBs have him covered very well on the pass attempts and stuff like that, he uses his height and his 40.5-inch vertical to high point the ball and just moss DBs and just easily use his height to get tough catches in the red zone for first downs, down the field. He can get the long ball. So those are 4 wide receivers I'm looking at. The Bears, hopefully they can, even if they get grab him at 39 or number 48 in the second round, I will be kind of happy with one of those wide receivers. I know that Sky Moore, he's small. He'll probably be slot, but I'm looking at those guys.
And you brought up a good point. The Bears picked 39 and 48, so those picks are not far from each other. Yeah. So they could easily get a tandem of a wide receiver and somebody else. Mm-hmm. Coach, you said D tackle is the first second round pick. Number 48, where do you think they go from there?
I do agree with you, and it's amazing that we all 3 of us about to name the same guy. And I don't know if he's just that Alshon Jeffrey mode, because he's definitely, George Pickens is definitely first round talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all know he's first round talent, but obviously with the injury, everybody's hoping he could drop. Who knows? Somebody might steal him, but he has been looked to get slotted around that mid-second round, and he's 6'3", like you said, 195, 200. Guy could go up and get the ball. Roach, you named the guy that I also was thinking about. He's not as fast. The Purdue kid, David Moore. Thing about it, he's more of a slot. But he's reliable. I knew you was gonna say him because he's like Mr. Hands, Allen Robinson. Yeah. So he's not gonna burn you down the field. But he's that Big Ten physical guy that could catch the ball in traffic. And so those 2 guys, giving Justin Fields any type of weapons would help. I'm just afraid. I don't know if if the Bears brass is saying, hey, we don't know if he's good enough, but I think to find out, you have to give him weapons to see how good he is.
Yeah, I think you got to help him out as much as possible. I mean, and I'm optimistic about getting a decent wide receiver in the second round because I see 7 or 8 wide receivers going before the Bears pick. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Drake London, Jamison Williams, Watson from North Dakota State. So Traylon Burks, Jahan Dotson from Penn State. It's so many wide receivers that can push George Pickens back to the Bears in the second round. He has a lot of potential.
But the last couple of years, it has been some really deep wide receiver drafts. So that's one position that's if you're in high school now, you're trying to get to the wide receiver because that's one of the positions that's growing really fast, especially in today's NFL. So hopefully that it's a really deep draft that we could still pick up a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, and look what they picked up in free agency: St. Brown, Pringles. We got Daz Newsome. It's not a lot going on to help out Mooney, so they need to get.
Well, Mooney is still a 5th round.
He was a 5th round. He was a 5th rounder too. Yep. Yeah, that's So the Bears definitely need receivers. I was also looking at a couple of linemen. Thayer Munford from Ohio State. I don't know if he's going to be available at that time, but Ryan Poles said he wanted athletic, versatile guards that's able to do the sprint, and he fits that mold. He's quick, he's fast. He can he'd be great as far as the screen game and everything else. So I think that might be a guy that can also draft in the second round. We already talked about the Bears first. Well, they don't pick to the second round, their earlier picks. But sometimes you find some gems in these later rounds. Darnell Mooney happened to be one last year, 5th round pick, turned out to be a quality receiver. And that's the only receiver we got. But he is. But the Bears do have a 3rd round pick, number 71. So, Coach, what should the Bears do with this 3rd round pick? Well, what position should they go after? Or is there a particular plan?
We went first. I went DT, then I went wide receiver. Against the popular opinion, I know Adi said he wants to go all offense. I just don't see this regime the way they was, and maybe they was picking up a lot of these guys in free agency so they could go offense. But some just tells me, I think, believe it or not, they're going to try to get this defense younger. They're going to try to get this defense cheaper. One thing that I have been thinking about is where will Roquan Smith play? Will he be an actual middle linebacker? Or will he be in that wheel spot, weak side linebacker, the Lance Briggs type? So I definitely think they're going to probably try to go in one of those later rounds. But I think right now, a hole we had even with last year, I think they're going to go cornerback. I think they're going to go cornerback. I'm looking at Josh Joby out of Alabama. Physical, man-to-man coverage guy. Press, so playing a 4-3, could play in a cover 2. So that's why I think they're going to go. I'm thinking they're going to try to fill some of these holes on the defensive end, and that's just been my gut with this new regime.
Definitely, because they, like you say, they got rid of everybody that was under contract, so they definitely have a lot of holes on defense. Adi, with this number 71 pick 3rd round, what you think the Bears going to do?
We agree. Me and Marcus, yes. See, I'm going all offense with the first 2 second-round picks. But in the 3rd round, I think it's time to turn to the defense. And you know what? The cornerback position. All right. So the Bears, they got to get a cornerback to complement Jalen Johnson.
Absolutely.
The Bears did sign Tavon Young. He was coming for the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens did make him the highest paid nickel back in 2019. Now he's a Bear, but they still need to do more work there. I'm looking at a few cornerbacks. We got Roger McCreary from Auburn. He's 5'11", 185 pounds. Very effective in press coverage. He loves to step up and mix it up in run support. You got Cam Taylor-Britt from Nebraska. He's 6 foot, 205 pounds. Very good instincts and awareness out there. In his 3 years at Nebraska, in his last 3 years at Nebraska, he had 6 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles, 18 pass breakups. He has very long arms. I really like that guy. Hopefully he falls to the Bears in the 3rd round. Then you also get a 6'4" cornerback, he's from the University of Texas at San Antonio. His name is Tariq Woolen, In his first 2 years at Texas, San Antonio. The guy was a wide receiver. 2020, he converted to cornerback, all right? In the NFL Combine, he ran a 4.26 40.
Wow.
Second fastest 40 time amongst cornerbacks, okay?
Yeah.
And so, but he's a project. So we'll see if he can fall to the Bears with that height and see if they can work with that. And also you got Mississippi State cornerback Martin Emerson, 6'1", 200 pounds. He's very effective in zone coverage. He's another guy that is really good and strong in run support. And the guy, he's good in press coverage, but he only had one career interception. So those are a few guys that may fall to the Bears in the third round.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. I'm with y'all too. I think they need to go cornerback. Whatever it is, y'all named all the names. I think they need to go cornerback. You saw last year the problems we had when Jalen Johnson went out. On the other side, they got rid of Kyle Fuller. So they definitely need to solidify that, and especially in their division because it is some good receivers in and well, you talked about the Packers, but
The Vikings.
The Vikings. So those teams, you got to be prepared. Just in the whole conference, you got to be prepared to play against these teams.
As I said in today's NFL, that a lot of people are going to the receiver. So most teams you can't have enough corners. You just got to have corners, nickels. And that's a lot of people. Believe it or not, they base packages is not so much the 4-3 or whatever. They mainly in nickel anyway. That nickel is considered that 12th starter or whatever.
Yeah.
So you need corners in today's NFL.
But Thomas Graham, he was a 6th round pick for the Bears last year.
Yeah.
He showed some flashes.
Yes.
He might be a hidden gem. Yeah, Kendall Vildor, he had a really horrible season last year.
It was rough.
And so, you got Duke Shelley. And so, but yeah, the cornerback is a huge problem.
And Vildor had some horrible games, I agree. But he still is not worthy enough just cutting. I think they just put him in there. He wasn't ready for that opposite of Jalen or whatever. So a year under his belt, still saying he may not be a starter, but I think he did show some flashes though of he had some skill. Now maybe we don't. If he's our opening day corner, we're in trouble. But I think they still got enough to work with him. He's young, second.
He's entering his third
year or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's still under the rookie contract. Yes. So.
I mean, if you can put him in the competition, he gets the competition, then that's all you can do. So the Bears got 2 5th-round picks and 1 6th. Coach, what's your expectation for the Bears with these picks? Are they going to get traded maybe? Or
It's really hard to trade 5th rounds. If there's some trades gonna go on, I think it'll be in that value of the 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah.
But just some positions, like I said, I kept saying right guard. I also said linebacker, trying to find maybe a middle linebacker if Roquan's not going to play that middle linebacker.
Yep.
And believe it or not, and one of these picks, unfortunately, is not very flashy. We got to take a punter. We don't have a punter. So we're gonna have to punt the ball. We can't play the the Los Angeles Chargers and go for it on 4th every time. So we know one of those picks gonna be a specialty punter because what was that? Pat O'Donnell is no longer with us.
Yeah.
They got rid of everybody.
Pat O'Donnell, he's just a punter. He ain't had nothing to do with the scheme. He's been punting good for a long time.
On him.
Ryan Poles
I don't want nobody, even if you were good. All right, what's your expectation for these later picks for the Bears? 2 5th rounds or 1 6th?
Well, Marcus mentioned the linebacker position. The Bears did sign Nicholas Morrow from the Raiders.
Yeah.
Okay, he was out last year with a foot injury. He didn't play last season. But in 2020, he had his best season in his career. That was the 4th year of his career. He put up career highs in tackles and everything. So he could play middle linebacker.
Okay.
We'll see what they're going to do after the draft with Nicholas Morrow and Roquan Smith. But I'm looking at it. The safety position is looking like the worst position on the Bears team right now. It's looking to me.
That's saying a lot because it's a lot of worse positions on the Bears.
Safety is the worst position. Tayshaun Gibson, he's going. Where is he? He's not re-signed with the Bears. Deion Bush, he signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. And Eddie Jackson never could return to that 2018 All-Pro form. He never could come close to returning to his 2018 self. So I think the Bears definitely need to address the safety position with one of these 2 5th-round picks here. And I'm really hoping, I would be delighted if we could see a draft day trade of Robert Quinn Okay, if they can just trade him and get some more draft, because Ryan Poles wants some more draft picks.
That's true.
You already traded Khalil Mack. You got rid of Khalil Mack. You're rebuilding. Hey, trade Quinn. Okay, you're just coming off a career year. I'm looking at some teams like the Dallas Cowboys. They didn't think they was going to lose Randy Gregory to the Denver Broncos.
That's a good point.
And Jerry Jones loves to make those big splash moves. Maybe we get him to return to Dallas. He's a former Dallas Cowboy, Quinn. And so, also, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. They was the third worst team in the NFL in sacks per pass attempt. They can use a pass rusher. And the Baltimore Ravens was the fifth worst team in sacks per pass attempt, okay? So these are some teams that Ryan Poles, look, I'm very disappointed in Ryan Poles. I don't like a damn thing he's doing. Do something, get some draft picks, call the Chiefs, call the Ravens, call the Cowboys, work out a deal, get at least a 4th round pick for Robert Quinn.
Call everybody.
Yeah.
I just think in those later picks, they just got to take the best available because, like y'all named all these positions, so obviously the Bears have a void in the talent department. So I just think you whatever position that you may see that you feel like is going to be helpful and they're talented, that's who you probably need to get. Whether it could be another wide receiver. Maybe you get another wide receiver, linebacker, D tackle, another offensive lineman. It might be somebody out there. So whoever you feel like is the most talented, I think that's where they got to go. Punter, but you're right. They might have to get a punter unless they find a free. That just threw a damper in this whole draft. No, man. Okay, Ryan Poles maybe not that.
I think as of this morning, said they had 63 guys on their roster. You need 90 about 90 going into training camp. There's about 27 guys down. They got 6 draft picks. So I hope our scouting department, I hope everybody's out working, looking through everything because you're going to have to bring in 15 to 20 undrafted free agents, rookie free agents to even begin training camp. So that lets you know what this year is going to be about. We're going to be hearing some names on Sundays and seeing some odd numbers running around. Some 48s at linebacker.
You also got to look at pass rushers as well. We lost Khalil Mack. Roach mentioned we signed Muhammad from the Colts. Last year, it was his first time in his 6th year being a full-time starter. He put up career numbers and things like that. He had 6 sacks last year. And you also got so he's with the Bears. You got Travis Gibson. He's entering his 3rd year. He had 5 forced fumbles, 5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss last year. So hopefully he's going to get all the playing time in the world next year. And especially if they trade Robert Quinn. So edge rusher is another position to look at.
Yeah. So hopefully the Bears, this is Ryan Poles' first draft. So hopefully he can figure this out and get some talent here in Chicago, help Justin Fields in other positions. You've been watching the Bears Draft Preview Show. I'm Zach Roach along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. I want to thank Marcus, Coach Floyd for coming to the show, helping us out. You've been watching Spectator Sporting. Make sure you go subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen to Spectator Sporting on Spotify. Until then, we out. Peace.